Thank you. Yes, so winter roads. I'm sure in the north, a lot of people have been on winter roads, cover a lot of communities. We'll go through a bunch of things here. Then go through the history of winter roads, where we're at today, impact and mandate, how they work with construction and inspection. Some of our policies and procedures, service delivery, operational issues, and network improvements. So a bit of a history. A lot of the roads were built in the 40s and 50s by private companies, what was referred to as cat trains. Basically your caterpillars dragging your freight throughout. There's kind of an old picture here of roads in Northern Ontario and Saskatchewan and Manitoba as well. Province took over the road system in 1971 and then transferred to Manitoba Infrastructure. NTI, as names change, 1978, where it resides today. So as the Minister mentioned, we cover over 2,300 kilometers of road. We're open about 7 to 10 weeks a year. We utilize 22 local contractors, so that's contractors within these communities. We employ about over 250 workers throughout the season. As mentioned, we go into 21 different communities. We're covering literally about 30,000 people in the north. About 3,000 loads of freight get hauled in. I would estimate about 50% of that is fuel hauled in. Temporary routes between northern communities, and it's a lifeline for northern residents as well. These are listed communities that we have that we go to. Most have all airports. Nice to hear Garden Hill or Sagamore getting one. A couple of places like Lac Rocher to Dooley Lake, they're on generating stations, so they have to have diesel hauled in for their electricity. There's 4 communities: Shiloh, Rocher, Lac Rocher, and Dooley Lake. So it's vital that they get that fuel in for the electricity. As part of a mandate, it's basically public worker safety in the construction and maintenance of these roads. Delivery of freight and fuel to the communities. Providing northern access to these, remote access to the communities. And also the community involvement, as like I say, the contractors in these communities do the work. Everyone we kind of work with is within MTI, the word carrier, road information. We pass that information on, 511. Manitoba Heavy Construction Association, the trucking industry, external stakeholders, a lot of players in that. Construction over land. So we've got land, a couple things there. We got land over grade, which is basically like a gravel road type of idea, or over land, which is just bare land, muskeg and swamps. And also construction over ice. Currently we have about 64 kilometers of over ice. That used to be into the hundreds of kilometers at one time. You go from like lake to lake, portage to portage. As mentioned, about 27 years ago, it was kind of realized that with worker safety, working on ice, longevity of the roads and that, it was moved off of lakes and onto land. A couple pictures here of construction over ice, where there's flooding equipment where they need to build up the ice. As mentioned, you need about a meter to put a fully loaded truck on. Just some quick information about the capacity of that, based on what was referred to as the Gold's formula. It's been around in the industry for many, many years. We inspect the ice for thickness and quality, check for presence of cracks. If there's extreme temperature changes, the ice needs to be inspected as well. Vehicle speed and load spacing, that's important as well. They're posted at 15 kilometers an hour on the ice for loaded trucks. And then, of course, we also deal with overloads and that. I think interesting to hear about rates for sea falls. We typically get up to about 5 feet of ice, or about 100 ton capacity in that. So once you get the ice, we're pretty good for a while. Maintenance, once the roads are built, they're basically like a groove trail packed down. Typically, they start off with snowmobiles to even pack the snow. As you know, snow gets an insulating layer, and in the muskings and that, the ground is warm, so if the snow is there, it's not going to freeze the ground. So you need to pack that snow. Groomers and snowmobiles, heavier equipment, eventually you get to the point where you're looking greater on the road. For our crews, so we have contractors out there build the road, and within the department we have our inspection staff that drive the roads. If you've ever been on them, you know the red trucks, the government trucks we have, responsible for drilling ice and capacity. Road inspection, signs, answering questions, giving directions, helping stranded people, that kind of thing. We typically have about 22 staff that are out there on rotation at a time. We're in accommodations in various places throughout the province. Part of the inspection is with checking the ice that we refer to as GPR, ground penetrating radar. Just an example here of this piece of equipment that's hooked to a truck and a sled. Once it's confirmed ice that we can get out there with either a sled or a truck, we'll drag this piece of equipment around and it'll give us a profile of what type of ice we have, the thickness of the ice. For example, this runs back to a laptop in the truck, and it'll give us basically like a Google Earth image here where the blue is thicker ice, the red is thinner ice. It gives us some summaries, and we can analyze that to figure out what we need for capacity. Obviously, the thinnest ice is the maximum capacity on the road, right? The weakest link of the system. And we'll post those signs at the ice crossings as to what your capacity is. Manitoba 511.ca has all that as well. GPR versus drilling, just an example there of someone drilling ice. So obviously, you got to get out there somehow, so you can do some drilling first. This one is basically a calibration check on the GPR, so we always double check what the machine's giving us to what we get from the equipment. Policies and procedures. We have standard specifications, so we have a standard width of the road through the bush, width on ice that's required. We have public and worker ice safety videos. We maintain and update a inspector's manual and a contractor's safety manual. So when we have these construction and maintenance contracts with the contractors, their specifications, their safety manuals to go by. Inspectors go through a 2 to 3 week training period to start with, and recertification as well. First aid, wilderness survival. Everyone gets to camp out in the bush for one night to say that you can do it in case you ever got broke down. Training with other equipment like the GPRs, that kind of thing, snowmobiles, making sure everyone's good there. Core certification are required for all the way through contractors in contract with the government. Companies must be core certified, so we work with the Manitoba Heavy Construction Association to make sure that everyone's trained, companies are certified, and it's good there. We also put on a pre-opening meeting, usually the first or second week of January in Winnipeg. We get a good turnout of 100, 120 people, and the trucking industry will come along. We'll tell them where we're at that point. They can ask questions. Service delivery. So yeah, lots of fuel, housing, capital projects, like water treatment plants, even the material for the treatment plants need to come in, crushing, airport crushing, that kind of thing, gravel, will be coming in on winter roads, food and supplies. Intercommunity travel is very important. This is firsthand on the road, right? People are driving on the road. A lot of isolated communities, let's say for 10 months of the year, this gets them out. They'll drive south, turn in their vehicle, get a new one, drive it up north, that kind of thing. As well as we get a lot of requests for information about tourism and research as well. So we kick out dispatching course. If you've ever seen it, it's on the left, on the right here, sorry. Gives us the condition of the road, anticipated openings, what the tonnage of the road is, depending if there's ice crossings or not. Generally to the far north, like Tattoo Lake, we'll just open up to full loading. Some other places that are on ice, we'll open up to lesser loading to get traffic going. That's all reported to Manitoba511.ca, so we're on the system there with that. We keep your maps. And also on our website, we've got safety tips and contact info. We offer our names and numbers for anyone that has questions. Logistics, this is our side of things within the department. So again, running about 20 inspectors, 3 managers, and admin staff to keep this rolling. I'm full-time, winter roads year-round. This takes planning, coordination, preparation, that kind of thing. We run accommodations, God's Lake, Islands Lake, Barriers River. We have our own accommodations there. Dune Lake, we have a mobile camp that we take out if you've ever been to Dune Lake, where you're on the side of the road there. And as well, there's a lot of lodges and hotels that we stay at. Gilliam, Norway House, even getting into Puckawagan, we're over streaming at Flin Flon and stuff. So, of course, meals and accommodations and communication. You know, the trucks run satellite phones, they'll talk to each other. A lot of these places don't have cell service. They're definitely not in between communities. So again, just those logistics of our end to keep it rolling. Operational issues, overland flooding. You know, you think the north is frozen, but if you ever gone up to Lac-Roche to Dune Lake, there's a lot of open water year-round. I don't know how that works, but there is. Of course, snowstorms and creek blowouts. Sometimes you get stranded. Get the contractors out there for the crew fix. Get the road back in condition. We try and report as soon as we can when things like that happen. You know, that 511. Accidents, rough roads, stuff happens, right? So again, it's a limited window of about 8 weeks, maybe 10. So it's important. Again, we're in constant contact with the trucking industry as to when the roads are open, what they're getting down. They'll call us directly if we have an accident that happened. Hear about, and then we could pass it on at least to a contractor or someone who needs information to help out. Just some more pictures of things that go sideways. This appears to be a lot of high areas here. Might be on the way to Chanel or something. Again, these roads overland, basically stretch through, and they're posted at 40 kilometers an hour. Big truck can luckily be 30 or so. It's not like it's a very fast road. Other operational issues with like thin ice and contractor performance. So again, you know, things that happen. We deal with it and get around it, keep them open. Last winter, December was a challenge. Luckily, January, February, March turned colder, and we basically got a full season last year. And then you visit in the summer, and it's like, oh, there's our road. Interesting. Winter is rough. What do you do, right? So some certain spots on high ground and places, we can do some grading and some rock removal and capping to improve roads. A lot of requests come from the communities. They'll let us know, hey, this section road is really rough this year. We need to do something about it. Trucks taking out oil pans and things like that, and we get some action right away. Reroutes, for example, there on the left, there's that purple line that goes down all the way back up. We make a cut across on that yellow line, for example, to avoid a couple of bad rivers, creeks, and a couple of hills that everyone gets stuck on. So out there's always something that's really bad. We want to get to the worst stuff and try and improve it. Bridges, aqua bridges. You got these out there. There's more going out. We're going to have one at the Lawford River between Sea Falls there and Oxford House. There's one going up in the next couple of years. I can't recall if we've got 6 or 8 of these out there right now. That gets us across the more major crossings without having to make ice. More importantly, too, is small bridges and culverts. We put in quite a few culverts as well, but they're temporary. Permanently put in the culvert takes a lot of work, but we're allowed to put in culverts and remove them at the end of the season. So it's to leave that the way it was. We're working on getting a whole bunch of what they call these mechanical small bridges right here, these bridge decks. Really important. We've got about 2 dozen out there now. We've got on the works about 2 dozen more that need to go up. Communities have requests from many locations, again, just to not disrupt the waterway as much, and with an ice crossing. And again, they stay out there year round, accessible only in the winter.